All right, hey guys, Mr. Mains here for another Devil and Tom Walker video. In this one, we're going to talk a little bit more about the story itself. I'm going to try not to spoil too much because if you haven't read the story or weren't listening in class, then you really need to read it for yourself. I'll put a card up here like a real YouTuber. Put a card up here linking to the audio for this story. There's lots of recorded audios of the story out there on the internet, so if you don't like the narrator that I post, you can find another one or read it yourself. Either way works. Let's go ahead and look at this little slideshow real quick. That button didn't work, I'm sorry. Well, like all fidgety for YouTube. All right, like and subscribe is a good reminder here. Like and subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. I would love to have 5 subscribers at least by the end of this video. There will be no prizes, but maybe when we get to 100. 100 would be cool. All right, Devil and Tom Walker. What could go wrong? Shaking hands with the devil. What's happening? All right, so we're going to look at the setting first. It's in Boston, Massachusetts in 1727, about 30 years after the Salem witch trials. So the Salem witch trials is something we're going to hit upon in the play The Crucible, which we'll be reading shortly in class. There's 3 primary settings in our story. It's Tom Walker's house, which is it has a haunted vibe. We have his spooky dead horse out front, his wife that beats him. His neighbors can hear the domestic abuse that happens in the home, and nobody helps. Nobody helps him. Second main setting is the spooky swamp forest. So it is a swamp, it is a forest, it's definitely spooky. They find what is essentially a Native American burial ground there, an old fort where the Native Americans made a last stand against some of the white settlers. They say that the fort was used to protect their women and children, and they obviously had warriors there too. But when they wiped out that fort, the white people would have massacred the women and children as well. So that makes it a nice little haunted atmosphere, gives it that extra spooky vibe. The last setting in the story is Tom's new house / office in Boston. So that's fun. 3 settings, all good. Next, we're going to talk about the archetype of the devil throughout this story. Here's a few of the archetypes that really stand out to me in my reading of it. This idea of like a great old one, this is an idea from Lovecraft fiction writing, but this idea just kind of says that this character of the devil has stories about himself all over the world. So this story really sets up this idea that there aren't any other gods. There's whatever god of the Bible, and the devil as this adversary type character. And the devil has been all over the planet doing devilish things, and therefore there's stories about him all over the world. He's also taking on the role of a trickster deity. He plays tricks on people. He is trying to make bargains with people for his own benefit. He's fulfilling this old role that other deities have taken on, or other characters in lots of different things. In the animal folklore, usually it's the fox that's like tricking people. In this case, it's our friend, the devil. He's also an adversary to Christians, so he particularly picks on Christians, and you'll see some of that in the story, of course. He's a punisher of evil, so he fits this archetype as well. He believes that these white men in this town have done bad things, whether it's Absalom Crowninshield or Deacon Peabody or Tom Walker himself. He is punishing people for their evil deeds. He's also an urban legend, which really ties back into the great old one idea, is that there's lots of stories about the devil, which particularly is kind of fun at the end when some bad things happen and the people of Boston are said to have just kind of shrugged their shoulders. They're just kind of used to these crazy things happening in their town. Now, a lot of mood swings in the story. So we're going to have a lot of mood questions as the other video kind of portrayed. And I just want to note that Tom Walker follows a typical hero's journey or protagonist's journey. You can see that up here. We at the beginning of our story, we're just kind of learning about who Tom is, who his wife is, what his life is like. The rising action takes place as he's having his conversations with the devil. He's understanding what the terms of the deal are. His wife dies. That's going to be right up here. Spoilers. And in the middle, of course, they strike the bargain. Okay? Then the falling action, as he is a usurer in Boston, giving out loans to people. The terms are harsher depending on how poor the person is. The more poor you are, the harsher the terms, because Tom wants to bankrupt you. He wants to take your home. He wants to take your livelihood and to make a profit for the devil. And of course, it ends how it ends. I won't talk too much about the ending here, but the resolution comes in old age, as there's a nice time jump in the middle of this falling action. So, and of course, buried treasure, very fun. After his bargain with the devil, Tom is brought into high society. His wife is gone. He has money. His life is on the up and up, but will it last? That's really the question for the last part of our story. Is he started on the bottom, he went to the top, now he's here, to quote our friend Drake. And so the question is, will he drop back down to the bottom again? Really, will he drop all the way to hell? Is really the big question. Our conclusion has Tom brought low once more, giving us some powerful themes of the value of money and bargaining with the wrong people. Beautiful. It's a telling tale. Our narrator indicates that his story served as a kind of warning to the people of New England, specifically to bankers and usurers. So, quote, let all griping money brokers lay this story to heart, unquote. So stolen treasure and stolen land had consequences for Tom Walker and the other great men in Boston. What theme did you take away from the tale? That's the last question on the assignment. So, give this video a watch, give the other video a watch, complete your Devil and Tom Walker assignment, get that turned in. I hope you enjoyed the story. I think those who had me in class did enjoy it. I'm glad to have read it with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, because I guess I'm on YouTube.